It's v.h.s.x. What do you mean?
Alright everybody, welcome back to a brand new video. Today I wanted to do another reaction discussion video that was suggested by one of you guys. So shout out to Cozy in the Discord community for suggesting this. This one is once again from EvilVora, titled "Every Killer Main is Making This Mistake, Dead by Daylight." Now we've been covering a lot of like EvilVora's like topics and certain talking points in previous videos. And they've been very informative. They've been really interesting to discuss. And I've given my thoughts on it as well. And I really appreciate you guys tuning in for these, because these are really interesting to discuss. And shout out to Vora, man. The original video is linked in the description so you can watch the full thing. I'm not going to be covering the full video. It's only going to be certain talking points. You can watch the full thing on your own. So go ahead and actually get into this. Let's listen to just a few things and I'll cover it.
Killer main watching this video, every single last one suffers from the same mental problem. Being too hard on yourself.
Ooh.
This is a huge flaw in your gameplay, and it's a huge flaw in life in general.
Ooh, okay. This is a really interesting topic. And this touches on real life situations and things. Being too hard on yourself. Yes, that is, you know what this ties into? This ties into wanting to win games. This ties into killer anxiety. This is touching on a lot of things at the same time. Being too hard on yourself. You want to know why? What is killer anxiety, right? A lot of the time, it's sort of trying to come with the terms of that you might fail. You might do badly. You might get embarrassed or clipped or even put into a TikTok compilation. Stuff like that, right? Or berated in the endgame chat, or even harassed. Stuff like that. And what is that obviously stemming from? In some cases, it's because you think you're going to lose the game. In some cases, it's because you think you're going to have a hard time. And it's because you're too hard on yourself. And this is why I always keep telling you guys, like in different topics about this, is like, you need to shift your focus from it being about trying to win the game, trying to, you know, sort of, I don't know, like, what other thing beyond that? And I'm trying to say that you guys need to focus on improvement on aspects that you guys need improvement on. So like, there's probably aspects of your gameplay that you're struggling with. There's probably pathing that you need help with. There's probably perk usage, or even perk synergy, or even perk usage on your specific character. You're probably slapping painters on Ghostface or something like that, or using save the best for last and rapid on him, for example, which are not optimal choices. And that might be getting you the loss if you're going against very strong players, because a lot of the time those perks are not going to give you a lot of value, right? Just as an example. And so you start to think like, you know, either A, that you're probably horrible at the game, or B, you start to think like that it's impossible to win, and you're like kind of beating yourself up about it. And in a lot of cases with DBD, at least specifically, that I can't really say with a full confidence that it's not like just the game, even though a lot of it is played into the game, rather, because there is a lot of RNG that comes into it, like obviously map selection, map spawns, and palettes and stuff like that. There's a lot of aspects to it that is true, that it's going to be out of your hands, right? The perks that they bring and the map you get, kind of out of your hands. But I will also say that like the way that you're playing, what you're doing, those are also parts of it that also come into play that may lead to your loss as well. So those two things go hand in hand. Those are two things that happen side by side. So that is important to really add on to it. But I completely agree. But let's go ahead and continue.
Learn to relax. If you've ever been to any of my streams, if you ever see me play any killer, you never catch me hanging my head. It's impossible to see. I will never hang my head in any circumstance that comes to me in life. You never catch me. Man, this isn't right. This isn't. It's not me. True killer mains have an iron mind. I've learned how to master my mind and stay composed under any situation. And games that most killers would cry about and give up. This game is over, man. Oh, man, they gotta stop buffing this. I'm completely composed, and I will bring those games back because I'm always, in my mind thinking of ways to turn a game around.
Now, I want to touch on that because, as you guys know, like I'm a pretty heavy crash out with this game for quite some time. For those of you that have been keeping up for as long as you probably have been, you guys know full well that I've been a crash out on this game. And I can say that at least with time, with my experience playing other games, like even Rivals and shit like that, I've completely been able to shift my focus away from that. And I understand now, like, what people are talking about with the ranked mode, and I understand now because it's like, as somebody who's has a competitive mindset, I love Rivals, right? Because my experience with my characters will matter, you know what I mean? Things like that. No character is truly garbage. And a lot of the time, a win is usually based around what I did, you know what I mean? Because each teammate on a team in that game is going to matter. A healer not healing is going to get the tank killed. If the tank isn't in the front, then the healers die, right? In that kind of way. And then like the DPSs, if they're not going after healers either, then they're going to be overhealed, and then the tank is going to end up getting their health drained, and the healers might end up getting shot up too. It's all connected, you know what I mean? They all are there to be there to help one another hand in hand. If without a tank, everyone else is getting sprayed. There's no space being created, right? Without DPSs, there's no extra damage output, and there's nobody diving their healers and stuff like that. And then of course that means they're essentially like immune to damage at that point, and it's just kind of insane when you really think about it. And I can say from personal experience, like, that I have been a crash out on DVD. I have done what Vora has said that you shouldn't do, in that sense. And I can say that at least nowadays I can look at DVD and kind of understand that I will try my best because of my experience level. I am able to kind of like pinpoint certain moments in the match, and I can kind of see it in slow motion, and I go, here's my moment. Like, I need to take it and capture it and make it work. And a lot of the time I can, you know what I mean? But a lot of the time I'm also just held by the limitations of my killer. Sometimes it is Ghostface and he doesn't have mobility, and I don't have anyone like 99 and stuff like that. So it just pretty much is just guaranteed to allow for them to win. And it's at that point, it's out of my hands. You know what I mean? There's certain things that are just out of reach. But in most cases, if you're using a viable character, then like how Vora says, you can make a comeback. And Vora's always ready, apparently, to make that comeback. And that's something that I agree with. That is something that I also am capable of doing. But I've just lost like a lot of motivation to really play the game as of late. And I've always stated I always play the game for you guys, man. I always play the game for you guys. And it's not for me. You know what I mean? The game is not great. But because you guys tune in, that's what we do. You know what I mean? We play the game for you guys, and then of course we play like something else on the side. Just to keep it interesting, keep it fun. And Resident Evil 2 has been very enjoyable, I will say. It's been very fun. But let's go ahead and continue.
That's just me. And that should be you as well. I'm not hard on myself when I lose. I'm not hard on myself if I have a bad match. I understand that it's 4 perks against 16 perks, and perhaps I didn't get 4, times 4 value out of one of my perks, simply. Maybe the map was terrible for the tier killer I was playing. Maybe they had insane RNG.
That right there is exactly what I was discussing a second ago. So Vora pretty much touches on it exactly. That's what I was saying myself. Some things are just out of your hands. It's just how the nature of the game works. There's just certain things that are out of your hands, and you should not really like lose your mind over that. Because at the end of the day, it's like, that's just the game. Like, and if you're still enjoying the game, then you just kind of have to look past that. And I think that that's kind of the difference, I would say, when it comes to mentalities with, like, when I see a lot of survivor players versus I see when a lot of killer players. I think as a killer player, like, you just in general have to endure like triple the amount of the survivor player has to endure. At least from my perspective, because you'll see like 100 posts talking about how a killer played, but you will never see posts like from killer players that probably have, if not like triple amount of posts. They could probably have 300 posts talking about each and every strategy that survivors have and perks that they have. Both sides are not having fun. That's mainly my point. Both sides are not really having a good time. But in this case, and for this specific video and this specific topic, killer players in general have to endure a lot of bullshit. A lot. It is how it goes. So that's really where I'm coming from when it comes to that sort of perspective. It's like, there's a lot of RNG aspects. You only have 4 perk slots. So you're going against, as Boris stated, 16 perks that can all do different things, usually by themselves. So a lot of the time, like, you know, also your killer, you know, ability and stuff like that may also just be horrible on a map. You could potentially play Huntress on RPD, for example. And of course, there's like, shout out to Hex Death, right? Can probably like rock it on RPD in his heyday. But somebody like myself, maybe, who's like probably like very new to Huntress, or at least like very moderate when it comes to Huntress, I probably will struggle a bit. And just how it goes, you know what I mean? Especially when the input required is very simple. Like a lot of the Survivor players, all they really need to do is just move either left or right, essentially, against a lot of stuff. Yet as a killer player, I'm having to like aim and flick and do all of these different things just to have them somehow miss or dodge, which only requires a single key press on the keyboard. Like, whoop-de-doo. The effort is always on the killer's shoulders, man. And that's really my point. But all in all, what Vora is saying, what I'm saying, really should not be so hard on yourself, and that applies even to life. You should not be trying to be so hard on yourself at the end of the day, because comparing yourself is going to like be the death of creativity. It's going to be the death of your motivation. What you should be doing is comparing yourself to you. Look back at who you were before and compare it to now. Are you proud? Are you happy? Are you like, yo, I freaking did this, that, and the third? I didn't do that when I was, you know, a couple years ago. I didn't think I'd do this, that, and the third years ago. That's sort of my perspective on it. You should be in competition with yourself. Can you be better than last time? Can you be stronger than last time? Can you be different than last time in that sense? Or at least, you know, more motivated than last time? Or whatever it is you want to go for. I can't be super specific because I obviously can't read everybody's mind. But can you just be better than last time? That's really where I'm coming from. Because there's no reason to compare yourself to anybody else. Everyone's got their own lane. So all you really have to do, I mean, you could be inspired by other people. You can look at what somebody's doing and you can be inspired too. You're like, you know what, I'm gonna do it too. You never compare though. You don't compare. You don't sit there and try to look at the ups and downs that they got. You should be concerned about your ups and downs. So I want to hear you guys' thoughts, man, on the topic at hand today. And I will see you guys in the next one, man. Hit the like button, hit the sub, man. And stay tuned for other content that's coming up soon, probably on a different channel. Like I've been mentioning on streams and stuff like that. It's just gonna take a little bit of time because some of this stuff that I'm trying to put together is pretty heavy. So we'll see you guys, man, next time. All right, let's go ahead and read off these wonderful members. We got Patreon, Crow Vader. All my YouTube members, Brando, Evil Blade, Cap Courteous, WTF You're Not J-Lo, Evil Peach, Cargan Falcon, Dole Whip, Noxus, Zero Mocker, Jack, Christian, and Crow Vader. Really appreciate you guys supporting, man. And if you also subbed on Twitch, just know that you got love coming your way too. Appreciate you guys, man.